Dow for joining us today. Bill, you are an experienced PMO thought leader and one of the authors for whom we have been in the AIPMO community doing a book review about two of the books that you've written on PMO. And I know you have others as well. You can perhaps tell us a little bit more about those in due course. But
Yeah.
thank you very much for agreeing to join us today. We also have on the call our senior editor, Ritu Chandna, and Mario, who's from our ambassadors team. And another couple of ambassadors or review team members may join as we progress the session today. But you're very welcome, Bill, and thank you for agreeing to speak to us today. So my name's Maggie McGeary. I coordinate the book review team as part of the IPMO community. And we just wanted to have a quick chat about your experience in PMO and the topics that have interested you to take up the challenge of
Yeah.
writing and creating these books. And
Awesome.
so wanted to just first of all allow you to introduce yourself.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you again, and thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be here. And we had said earlier that this is a kickoff event, so I'm really thrilled about that. So thank you again for having me. So my name is Bill Dow. I have 34 years in the project management industry. I actually had to ask Siri or Alexa that the other day. I said, "Could you please count that for me?" Because I've been doing this for a long time. I've written 7 books, 7 published books out there, PMOs and project management. I think I have 26 or 27 eBooks so that people can download and stuff. So I've been a speaker all around the world, right? I keynoted in Scotland in 2023 for Lindsay Scott and the PMO conference. I do countless courses, so PMO and project management, and I'm also running a large PMO today. So in the Seattle, Washington area. So tons and tons of experience in the project management and the PMO space.
Thanks, Bill. And I was happy to be at that PMO conference when I heard you
Yeah,
speak as well in Edinburgh.
yeah,
So that was great.
thank
Um,
you.
so what I was interested to understand from you, Bill, why PMO? What got you interested in PMO in the first instance?
Yeah, I started when you think about project management. I started in 1991. I managed my first project, and I tell this funny story, and it was kind of true at the time. It was like, I want to be the project manager because I don't want to do any work. I just basically want to boss the team around. But again, that was 1991, so that was a long time ago. And what happened is I started managing the project, and I absolutely loved it. I loved the checking of the box and the encouraging the team and getting the deliverables done and really managing and leading teams. And so that was really where I started in the project management industry. And then in 2002, so 20 plus through 23 years ago, I started my first PMO data warehouse. So it was a data warehouse PMO. And that's where I'm rooted in project management, but then I made my career up to a PMO director, PMO manager, and I absolutely loved it. So I love the fact that I had the project management background, and I can guide and mentor and coach people to become better project managers within my own space.
Fantastic. And one of the things that I noted from your some of your material was this focus on the team. I
Yeah,
think it really shows through in your writing and in your blogs and
yeah.
videos that I've seen that this focus on managing the team and team development. And I think one element that I saw recently was about it's the people, stupid.
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
that comment.
yeah, yeah. That was yeah, right. It's the economy, stupid. It was a presidential reference, but yeah, I've always one of the things I'm just rooted in sports, right? Hockey and tennis, and I've always been a coach. I've been a hockey coach. I've been a soccer coach. I've been a tennis coach, and so I'm always trying to improve people. always trying to help people get better and help people move that bar. I'm constantly talking about how do we move the bar? How do we move the maturity? So that whole coaching and leading and mentoring, that's just in my DNA. I've coached at a project, or sorry, at a college level for many, many years and absolutely love it. So when you think about being a PMO leader, you are a coach, you are a mentor, you are constantly helping people navigate through the complexity of running their projects or programs or even portfolios.
And what about with the books? When it came to turning your hand to writing, what was the trigger for you to go from being an everyday project and PMO leader to deciding I want to get this down on paper and
Yeah.
publish my thoughts?
Yep. Yeah, so the thought there is, well, so when you think about it, there's really twofold, right? There's PMO related books and PMO ebooks and published books, and there's project management books and published books and ebooks and stuff. And the trigger to really getting that down was around growing and helping people. People, I've always had a mentor. I've always had a coach, right? For 25 years or something, I've had a coach and a leader. So when I wanted to get the books down and get my writing down, it was about trying to help people. How do they navigate? Right? You can go watch YouTube videos and you can read posts on LinkedIn, but that doesn't actually help you navigate. And one of the things that I think I bring to the table, which is a little bit different, is I'm still in the career. I'm still driving a large PMO today. I still manage projects. So I'm in the heart of it. I'm in the heart of AI. I'm in the heart of all these things that are currently happening. And so when I wrote those books, I've wanted to give that tactical, how do you deal with this? And how do you get more than a 3-minute video on YouTube to try to get some ratings, right? So it's always been about that tactical and helping people.
That's great. I think that practitioner view certainly shows through in all the materials that I've come across from you, Bill. So really
Yeah.
appreciate that. Was there any specific audience that you had in mind, or any particular events that happened that made you think, what's missing is this?
Yeah, well, when it was first rooted, when I first wrote my first project management book, I was actually on advisory board for a local university. And what
Mhm.
happened was for the project management communication class, the students had to buy like 6 or 7 books, and the instructors would take a paragraph here or a chapter here, and it was like, wow, why don't we just write a project communications book? So that was 2008 when I wrote my first book. There was not a lot of project communications books out there that had tactical, how do we actually manage a project tactically? And again, we're talking 2008. It was a long time ago, right? So now there's thousands of books. But the point is that it all came from a business need. Is students had to buy multiple books. We wrote one, and we got that incorporated into that university.
That's fantastic. Sounds helpful. And yes, it's similar to our ambitions when we started with the book review, just the fact that there's so much out there now. How do we
Yeah,
pick? How do we
yeah,
choose? And how do we guide people with
yeah.
the ones that will make a difference and that will really inform their careers?
Yeah,
Um,
and
so I've
that's
got
and
one.
that's true, right? And that's where AI sadly is becoming. We're seeing more and more of that, right? We're seeing more and more LinkedIn posts with AI, and people aren't getting that tactical. How do I really do this? Right. And so, yeah, I can only imagine how challenging it is for a team like yourselves that are trying to look and trying to help people and then trying to figure out, is this AI written, or is this really coming from the tactical person, the person, right, that's experiencing day to day.
Okay, and I have one more question for you, and then I'll open up to Ritu and Mario for
Okay.
any questions that they might have. I was curious, Bill, what do you see as being the key challenges for PMOs today?
Yeah, so I have to start with a large number of projects. We're seeing, and I talk to a lot of people around a lot of different companies, we're seeing massive amount of projects. Maybe that's still a COVID catch up. Maybe we're still trying to catch up from COVID, but people are running massive amounts of projects and they're really getting burnt out, right? We're at the highest level that we've seen across the board. Every company is really running a lot of projects. And so that's a huge problem because it leads to burnout. It leads to checkbox activities from a project management perspective, right? If you think a project manager's got 10, 11 projects, how can they possibly do all that goodness around managing risks and issues and actions and schedules, right? How can they do that across 10 or 11 projects? It's not possible. Second, lack of resources. So even though there's lots of layoffs and lots of, return to offices and people aren't gonna, there's all those things out there, there's still a hunt for people. It's taken much longer to find people, right? Locally, it's really hard to find people. So lack of resources on projects and lack of funding to bring more people on projects. So we have lots of projects and we don't have enough people to do the projects, and the appetite continues. And this is across the board. I'm seeing that. Are you guys seeing that as well? Like lots and lots of projects going on?
Yeah, certainly
Yeah.
constant change. That just seems to be part of the world that we live in now, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
And I think maybe it's a COVID catch up, right? Maybe people are still trying to catch up from COVID. I don't know why, but it's across the board, across the countries that people are overwhelmed. And of course, then there's AI, right? AI is starting to really get out there fast, and we don't know the value yet. We're seeing project management agents, we're seeing Copilot, but we don't know if it's going to bring the value that we think it's going to bring. There's a lot of hype, a lot of action, a lot of things about it, but we haven't seen it yet. So those are like really the top three that I'm seeing is how do we navigate and how we really work those three particular areas.
And I think we maybe come back to that AI point
Yeah,
in
sure.
just a minute. But first of all, I want to ask Ritu and Mario if you have any questions for Bill.
Yes, I think I can. So, Bill, as you know, we went live with the AIPMO book review last year,
Yeah.
and we prepared for the book review launch for 3 months before we actually published the first three or first four reviews. It was almost 3 months of work where we decided what would be the criteria based on which the review would be done. And as you know, it's probably the only book review process where we follow or where the 10-point review system is followed. And we have around 25 books now. And
Wow.
I'm glad that the reviewers have contributed so well. We have two set of reviewers. The first one is the main review, and then it goes to the quality reviewer, and then the score is decided. And we follow a set of principles like objectivity, integrity. And out of those 25 books, I'm glad that you have two books. So
Yeah.
I would just like to ask your opinion about the AIPMO review system. I'm sure you
Oh,
must have read the two reviews
I
of your
did.
book. So
Thank
what
you.
do you think? Is it something? Yeah,
Yeah, I think they were wonderful. Like you said, this was a well-structured, well-organized process. It was kind of fun getting you the book through Amazon and
yeah.
delivery and all that process of getting you the book. But it was such a well-structured process, and it was such a thorough review. I think anyone should be honored to go through your process and land on your books. But I just thought it was absolutely amazing. The reviews were well written, well structured, easy to understand. The whole process was excellent from start to finish.
That's great. So I'm not really directly involved in the reviews. It's done by the review team. But after the reviews are done, I do get a chance to go through it, finalize, and put them on the website. So I would just like to say, it has been a great learning experience for me as
Yeah,
well. And I'm looking forward to more reviews and more authors appreciating. And I'm sure it's a good feeling to be able to contribute and
yeah, it
to
was
tell
wonderful.
readers about the good books out there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And like you said, there's so many books out there,
Yes.
and you guys have got a challenging team, but your process is excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. And Mario is specializing in sustainability. He's
Okay.
an expert in sustainability, so that's his main area of interest. So he's asking on the chat here, What's your view on how PMO can help with introducing sustainability in projects? And what do you see as the role of the PMO within that? Should it be the PMO that's managing and implementing the sustainability monitoring, or do you see that as something that should sit outside of the PMO function?
I think we're still early in that stage, right? I think that we're still very, very early in the whole sustainability process. I love it. I think it's wonderful, but I am not totally sure because we don't want to use PMO as a dumping to everything has to go in there. We really want to, as we continue to grow PMOs, we have to establish them with their own set of service offerings, right? And what we do is, and I talk about service offerings all the time, and I think sustainability could certainly be a service offering into a PMO, but we'd have to, understanding the why, right? And we don't just put things in the PMO as a placeholder. We're always trying to understand the why. And it could logically, if we could tie back the why, if there was a lot of sustainability aspects within our projects, then we could tie that very, very nicely. And then we could build a whole sustainability service offering. So I think we're just still early in this process to figure that out. But I'm certainly open to it. And I'm certainly thinking that it could potentially land there.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I just to take you back then as well to another service that you mentioned
Yeah.
there about AI project
Yep.
agents. And I know from our brief discussion beforehand that you
Yep.
were keenly dabbling with this yourself. I just wondered if
Yeah.
there's more you wanted to say about AI and the possibilities that you see
Yeah.
for PMO.
100%. Yeah. So I've started to take a completely different path and I've started to develop an AI. So I've started to actually develop PMO and project management applications in AI. So I have leadership applications and I have quizzes and I have, Monte Carlo simulations. So what we're seeing is we're seeing tons and tons of software. There's no question there is a ton of PMO and project management software. But again, I'm coming back to the tactical. I know there's a ton of software out there, but tactically, can it help us? Right? Can I load a Monday.com schedule into a Monte Carlo simulation and get my risk analysis? Am I going to finish on time? I'm going to cost on time. Can I do network diagrams that easily? Can I do WBSs? So I've tried to take my project management and PMO experience and background. I've tried to take my development background and turn around and build with AI, PMO, and project management apps. Now, from an agent perspective, Microsoft has released a project management agent, which is really exciting. It's on Planner Premium, but there's not a lot of people that have gone to Planner Premium yet. Now, it's going to be the takeover for Project Online. So it's gonna eventually take off there. And they have released an agent, but I'm not sure the value of that agent yet. I'm not sure what that's gonna look like. We often hear AI is going to write our status reports and going to do all the mundane project management tasks, right? We hear that. I'm sure you guys all hear that as well. But I gotta understand, right? When you think about art and science of project management, AI is never going to take over the art, right? The relationships, hey, influence without authority. Could you work a little bit later? AI is never going to do that. So I think we're putting a lot of hope in these AI agents, but I don't know if they're going to work. But yet, when people are building their own apps and they can see Monte Carlo simulations or network diagrams or WBSs, they're working. So I think we're just at the early stages of all the possibilities of what we can do with AI and the PMO and project management spaces.
Yeah. Well, I have a feeling I know what you might say to this next question, but then
Sure.
so what still excites you about PMO today?
Yeah, I love it. I love the coaching. I love the mentoring. I love this fact that now we've got AI coming in. What do we do about that? So we're at the cusp of an amazing time to be working because other PMO leaders and directors and whatnot are trying to figure this out. And I just gave an AI PMO webinar, and I've got an ebook on it, and I've got all sorts of stuff on this. And basically, we're at the cusp of saying, what do we do with this? I've got an idea. Why don't we lay off, if all these agents are going to be great, why don't we lay off all the project managers? We don't need project managers anymore because we'll just do these agents, right? We're at the cusp of figuring this out. If we're at cost cutting times, maybe we could, right, lay off some project managers and let the agents do it. But then, like, is that reality? Is that really going to be a thing? But maybe we should embrace that. Get rid of project managers and just go with AI. Right? Like, so it's such an exciting time. Of course, I'm kidding, but it's such an exciting time. And so I just love it. I just love learning, and I'm really passionate about how do we make this work? And then how do we help people make this work?
Right. Yes. Controversial there with lay off all
Yeah.
the project managers.
Yeah. Well,
How to win friends and influence people, Bill.
Yeah. No, but it is interesting, right? Because we're seeing all these ads and we're seeing all these posts like project managers can then go off and do more important work. And I'm going, what? That's their job. Risks, issues, actions, schedules. That's their job, right? So I don't get how it's more important work, but I get that it's mundane, and I get that they don't necessarily like doing that, but that's the job. Like, we're sometimes forgetting that's what the job is, right? So, but yeah,
And there's
so we'll
definitely
see.
lots
But
of
I love it.
possibility that's opening
Yeah.
up for us, isn't there?
No,
Uh,
yeah, that's the thing.
yeah.
And maybe, I've always done project coordinators. I've always done they've been students, they've been student PMs. Maybe we can get, maybe we don't have to use these student PMs, right? Or project coordinators, because we can use agents. The problem is when you have a student PM or a project coordinator or someone in the very early beginnings, and I've done that for years and years, I've always brought them in, you're growing them in their career, right? They're growing in the PM career, and we have to give opportunities for people who don't have a ton of experience to continue to grow in their career.
Yeah. So we have to really think about how we integrate
Yeah.
the AI capabilities with
Yeah.
real people in real teams. And yeah, I think we're lucky to have you thinking on those problems and
Yeah.
helping come up with some solutions. And no doubt there'll be further books in the pipeline
Yeah.
as you wrestle with all these topics.
There will be.
I'm so grateful, Bill, for you joining us today.
Thank
It's
you.
been fantastic to speak with you. We will share this recording and
Okay.
any links to any relevant items that you want us to share. We will share that through the AIPMO communication channels. What I just wanted to cover before we close off the recording is where people can find additional information if they're interested in our book reviews process. So either if you want to access the reviews and see which books have been reviewed so far and learn a bit more about the two that we have done from Bill's collection, and indeed the other books that have been published so far. Or if you're interested in reviewing and becoming a reviewer yourself, then I'll just show you briefly. I'll share my screen and show where you can find that information. So we go to the AIPMO website. Trying to share my content. Can anybody see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay, that is not behaving.
Oh, here we go. I can see it now. There we go.
Okay, so on the AIPMO.org website, you'll see there's various sections of information about the certifications that AIPMO offer and the training calendar and upcoming learning events. But along here, you've got one called Explore. So our book library here that Ritu was talking about is in this book library section, and you can learn about our 10-point approach here, and you can see the books that have been reviewed.
It's a great website.
So just to give you a flavour, you can click through and just click on Bill's book here, and you can see the detail of the review that's been done here. And if you're interested for yourself in becoming a member of our review team, then get in touch. There's a link here that tell you a bit more about the team and how to get in touch, and we will be happy to hear from you. So stop sharing there, and just remains for me to say thank you once again, Bill, for being our first of our guest authors to pick up the mantle and do an interview with us. And we look forward to hearing more from you as you continue to publish. Is there anything that's coming up for you that you want to share with anyone watching today?
It is amazing. Yes, I've got brand new eBooks coming out. I've got the AIPMO ebook coming out. I've got new courses coming out. Dr. Tony Prenza and I, we've done a webinar. We're about to release that. So I have lots and lots of things coming out that just continue to grow and help people grow and learn and grow in their career. So yeah, can I just give a website to go to?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. BillDowPMPtraining.com. So BillDowPMPtraining.com. And once you go there, you pick your path. Are you a PMO manager, leader, or you're a project manager? It takes you down 2 separate paths. So that's where you'll get all my stuff.
Thank you so much, Bill. And
Thank you,
we'll close out here today, but thank you.
Yeah. Thanks again. Thanks for having me. Bye-bye.